My beloved sisters, if you want to change your life, change your daily habits. A beautiful home is built one brick at a time, and a beautiful soul is built one habit at a time. You cannot expect your heart to shine with peace, your home to flourish with love, and your mind to be at ease, if you are not feeding it with consistency and purpose. It's not the big things you do once in a while, it's the small things you do every single day that define the woman you become. In life, what truly defines a person is not what they do once in a while, but what they choose to do every single day. The same applies to a woman striving to grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Her identity, her character, and her relationship with Allah are all shaped through her daily habits. These repeated actions may seem small or insignificant on their own, but over time they build the foundation of who she becomes. For example, if she makes it a point to start her day with Fajr prayer and a few minutes of Quran recitation, this daily routine will strengthen her connection with Allah and gradually purify her heart. If she chooses to guard her tongue each day, avoid gossip and speak kindly, she is building a character that reflects sincerity and faith. Consistency is a powerful tool. One may pray tahajjud once in a while and feel spiritual for a night, but a woman who quietly wakes up a few minutes before Fajr every day, offering even just 2 rakahs with sincerity, is planting seeds of nearness to Allah that will flourish in the long term. These small, regular habits become part of her identity. She becomes someone who doesn't just practice faith when it's convenient or during special occasions, but someone whose entire life reflects her values. When a woman makes the choice to fill her day with productive, faith-centered habits, she is actually protecting herself from falling into harmful or wasteful routines. Time that is left unoccupied becomes a playground for Shaitan. But time that is filled with purpose, even in the smallest ways, like making dukkha while cooking, helping a neighbor, or smiling at her children, is time that is blessed. The reality is success in this life and the next doesn't come from dramatic, rare moments. It comes from steady steps taken daily with sincerity. A woman who builds a habit of dua, of seeking forgiveness, of expressing gratitude, slowly transforms her heart and her mindset. And without even realizing it, she becomes a woman of strength, wisdom and inner peace. These small habits turn into a lifestyle, and that lifestyle turns into a legacy. It is through mastering her daily routines that a woman becomes truly exceptional, not just in the eyes of the world, but in the sight of her Creator. Living each day with purpose is a powerful act of faith. A woman who wakes up in the morning with intention and direction carries within her the mindset of a believer who knows that time is not to be wasted. Allah has granted each soul a limited number of days, and within those days lie countless opportunities to gain His pleasure. When a woman understands this, she no longer allows her hours to pass by aimlessly. Instead, she plans her day around what will benefit her in this world and the hereafter. From the moment she opens her eyes, she remembers Allah, thanks Him for life, and aligns her heart with actions that bring barakah. A purposeful woman asks herself before every decision, will this bring me closer to Allah or further away? Whether it's the way she manages her home, speaks to her family, or chooses how to spend her free time, everything becomes an act of ibadah when done with the right intention. Even her rest becomes worship when taken to regain strength to serve Allah better. This kind of intentional living brings clarity, peace, and direction. Her energy is not scattered, and her time is not lost in distractions. Such a woman does not measure success by how much she owns or how busy she appears, but by how aligned her daily life is with the values of Islam. She understands that productivity is not about doing more, but about doing what matters. She might only do a few things in a day, but if those things are done for the sake of Allah, they carry immense reward. She doesn't seek validation from people, because her focus is on pleasing her Creator. Even in difficult circumstances, a purposeful woman remains firm. When she faces trials, she doesn't fall into despair, because she knows there is wisdom in every hardship. She trusts that each challenge has a purpose, and she seeks to respond with patience and faith. She lives each day not as a burden, but as a gift. This sense of intentionality transforms her entire life. Her home becomes a place of mercy, her words become a source of healing, and her presence becomes a light for those around her. When a woman lives with purpose, every day becomes meaningful, and every act becomes sacred. Islam is not just a religion that teaches a set of rituals, it is a complete way of life. A woman who understands this truth recognizes that her faith is not limited to the prayer mat or the mosque. It extends into her kitchen, her conversations, her behavior with family, and even the way she handles difficulties. Islam gives guidance on how to eat, how to speak, how to treat others, and how to manage time and emotions. When a woman embraces Islam as a full lifestyle, she no longer separates her faith from her daily routine. Her every action becomes a reflection of her connection with Allah. A believing woman knows that her dress, her tone, and her mannerisms are all forms of worship. She carries herself with modesty not just in her clothing, but in her attitude and dignity. When she speaks, she remembers the Prophet's own advice that if one has nothing good to say, remain silent. This awareness makes her cautious with her words, guarding her tongue from hurting others. Even when she's engaged in tasks like cleaning the house, raising children, or earning a livelihood, she carries the intention to please Allah, and this intention turns ordinary acts into acts of worship. Her Islam is not seasonal or situational. It is not something she shows in front of others and abandons in private. She understands that the real test of character is how she behaves when no one is watching. Whether she is dealing with a rude customer, a disobedient child, or a challenging spouse, she reminds herself that Allah is watching, and that reminder helps her remain calm, just and patient. Her decisions are not based on mood or emotion, but on principles taught by the Prophet N. This way of living gives her a deep sense of peace and strength. She is not swayed by the opinions of society or temporary trends, because her path is guided by timeless wisdom. Her life becomes structured, her heart becomes focused, and her actions carry meaning. She becomes an example for others, not because she is perfect, but because she is striving with sincerity. In every moment, she asks herself how she can better reflect the beauty of Islam. By living Islam fully, she turns her life into a source of barakah, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. Consistency is one of the most powerful qualities a woman can develop in her journey of faith. It is not about doing something grand once in a while, but about doing the small good deeds every day with sincerity. Many people begin something good with enthusiasm, but they quickly lose momentum. True strength lies in maintaining goodness over time, even when no one is watching and when the motivation fades. The Prophet Muhammad beautifully said that the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are done regularly, even if they are small. This hadith shows that in the eyes of Allah, what matters is not the size of the action, but the sincerity and consistency behind it. A woman who is consistent in her habits builds spiritual discipline. If she makes it a habit to pray her 5 daily prayers on time, every single day, she will find that those moments of worship shape her entire day. They act as checkpoints for her soul, giving her peace, focus and structure. If she dedicates a few minutes each morning or evening to reading the Quran or making dhikr, these small actions begin to nourish her heart. Even if it's just 5 minutes, the regularity of those moments connects her to her Creator and protects her from the chores of life. Life is full of ups and downs, but a consistent woman doesn't allow her faith to be controlled by her mood. Whether she is feeling joyful or facing trials, she continues her good habits, because she knows that spiritual strength is built through steady effort. She does not rely on motivation alone, she relies on discipline and commitment. And through that discipline, her iman grows stronger over time. Consistency also builds trust with Allah. When a woman shows through her daily actions that she is serious about her relationship with Him, He places barakah in her life. Her does become more powerful, her heart becomes more peaceful, and she gains a sense of direction in her life. Even in worldly matters, such as relationships or personal goals, consistency brings progress. A woman who is constant in her character, in her patience, in her kindness, becomes a source of reliability and strength for others. Through her consistent actions, she becomes a true believer, steadfast, sincere, and always striving, no matter how small the steps may be. Every good habit a woman develops is not just a tool for personal improvement. It is a valuable investment in her hereafter. In Islam, even the simplest acts, when done with sincere intention, can carry immense reward. A quiet moment spent in dhikr, a sincere smile offered to a family member, or a short but heartfelt due can become heavy on the scales on the day of judgment. These daily habits, when rooted in faith and performed regularly, turn into seeds that grow into trees of reward, both in this life and the next. A woman who understands this begins to view her daily life through the lens of worship. Her routine is no longer ordinary, it is sacred. When she chooses to lower her gaze, speak kindly or control her anger, she is building her akira with patience and self-restraint. When she helps someone in need or offers a word of comfort, she is earning reward that may be hidden from the eyes of people, but fully known to her Lord. Allah does not overlook any deed, no matter how small. The Quran reminds us that even an atom's weight of good will be seen. This means that every habit matters, every choice counts, and every sincere effort is registered. Developing such habits also transforms a woman's internal world. The more she engages in remembrance of Allah, the more peaceful her heart becomes. When she makes it a habit to seek forgiveness daily, her heart is constantly being cleansed. When she says, Alhamdulillah, and Subhanallah, throughout her day, she is increasing her gratitude and humility. These small actions might seem easy, but their impact on the soul is powerful. They soften the heart, clear the mind, and bring divine light into her life. By turning everyday acts into opportunities for reward, a woman never feels that her time is wasted. Whether she is cooking for her family, doing laundry, or caring for her children, she does it with the intention of pleasing Allah. And that intention transforms the action. These habits become her shield, her source of strength, and her way of earning continuous blessings. When she lives like this, her life becomes full of barakah, and her hereafter becomes a place of endless reward. Every habit becomes a step toward Jannah, and every day becomes a chance to grow closer to her Lord. A woman who masters her daily habits becomes a source of light, not only for herself but for everyone around her. Through her consistent efforts, grounded in faith and sincerity, she uplifts her character and builds an inner strength that radiates outward. She doesn't need to announce her efforts or seek praise, because the impact of her presence is felt through her calmness, her wisdom, and the peace she brings into her environment. She becomes the one her family turns to for comfort, the one her friends respect for her wisdom, and the one her children admire for her patience and example. When a woman lives with discipline and purpose, rooted in the teachings of Islam, she naturally becomes a pillar in her home and a role model in her community. She is not easily shaken by trials because she has trained her heart to rely on Allah and her tongue to remain grateful. Her habits of prayer, patience, kindness, and reflection make her emotionally resilient and spiritually grounded. Even in difficult situations she maintains her dignity, speaks with gentleness, and acts with justice. She understands that her actions speak louder than her words, and she carries the responsibility of being a reflection of her faith with humility. Such a woman is not perfect, but she is always striving. She is aware of her shortcomings but does not allow them to define her. Instead, she uses every mistake as a stepping stone to improve herself. Her growth inspires others, not because she imposes it on them, but because they see the positive transformation within her. Her presence motivates others to do better, speak better, and live better. Her home is filled with barakah because of her habits. She begins her day with the remembrance of Allah, organizes her tasks with intention, and fills the house with love, mercy, and good character. She teaches by example, not just by words. Her children learn adab, manners, her spouse finds tranquility, and her relatives feel supported. Outside her home, her manners and humility reflect the teachings of the Prophet and people feel at ease around her. In a world that often pulls people toward haste and distraction, a woman of daily discipline becomes a rare gem. Through her commitment to bettering herself for the sake of Allah, she becomes a woman of influence, a woman of substance, and a woman who leaves behind a legacy of faith, love, and strength.